wondering what this paperwork is that I'm holding here in my hands. Well, what this is actually the very last receipt from the court fines that I've needed to have paid off in an effort just to get my license suspended, where I'll have to wait 6 months before I'm even eligible for a learner's permit. That's right. This paperwork that I hold in my hands right here is the absolute key, the final piece to the puzzle. Before in 6 months from now, old Joe, and I mean that in the most literal sense of the term because I am 35 years old, old Joe will then be eligible to drive with another licensed adult. Hey Joe, you're 35 years old, you're almost 40 years old, gonna have to drive a car with another person who got a license. I'm 16 years old and I got a car, and you don't even got no car. I'm 16, post. I hope you see that I'm driving and you ain't. I get that there's probably a lot of people who are driving and I'm not. But again, this paperwork right here, this is the final receipt from the final court that I needed so that I can go to DMV and then in 6 months from now be eligible to get a learner's permit. But the fact that I'll be damn near 36 years old driving with another licensed adult is the least of the concerns for this video. And in fact, in this video, I want to talk to you about dealing with a debt collector after prison. Now, this may seem like just a very crazy topic to be talking about, but I have to assure you, it is very seldomly ever the case that I can go anywhere at all. I mean, I could walk inside of a porta-john, and I'm gonna come out of that damn porta-john with a story to tell y'all. And going to deal with these debt collectors yesterday is a perfect example of all of that. In fact, dealing with these debt collectors yesterday was a lot like being inside of a porta-john, because it certainly was a whole lot of doo-doo. Some absolute doo-doo. Now, there's a lot more to this story than actually just dealing with the debt collectors. And in fact, another part of all of what I'm getting ready to tell you about is that yesterday I really learned that I am so glad that I changed my life for the better. And as I tell you this story, you're gonna understand a lot more of what I'm talking about. But again, yesterday I had to go to this debt collection office just to pick up a piece of paper that I need to take to the DMV. And when I walk inside of the office, I go right up to the reception window, which is bulletproof. I don't understand why they would be. Oh yeah, they're a debt collection office. It actually makes a lot of sense that they're sitting behind bulletproof glass. But I walk up to one of the two windows where there's this woman sitting behind about 4 inches of bulletproof glass, and I say to her, hey, I need to pick up a receipt from about 2 years ago showing that I had a court fine that was paid off. You guys were actually garnishing my wages when I was working at a construction job, back-breaking labor, and you guys were taking like 40% of my check. It actually makes perfect sense why you're sitting behind 4 inches of glass right now. It makes perfect sense entirely. But as I'm trying to explain this to the woman, hey, I need to pick up this receipt. It was from like 2 years ago. She cuts me off right there. Doesn't even let me get another word out. And y'all know I like to talk. She says, sir, excuse me. Excuse me. You're going to need to turn around, go grab that clipboard that's sitting in the back right there. I see the clipboard back there. What I got to do with the clipboard? She says, sir, you're going to need to fill out the paperwork on that clipboard and bring that back up to me. Now, mind you, I've never been inside of a debt collection office, so this is all new to me. It's absolute news. I mean, I'm absolutely flabbergasted just by the fact that they're sitting behind glass that looks like it would be the windows in a space shuttle. This dude is so funny, yo. I don't even know why I got recommended these After Prison Show videos. The woman tells me before I can do anything else, I need to grab the clipboard, fill out the paperwork. Again, I'm new to this, so I do what this rude woman tells me to do when I go grab the clipboard. Now, as I'm looking at this questionnaire on the clipboard, this looks like something that someone would fill out who's here to make payments. I mean, it's asking me all sorts of questions about where I live, where I work. Super famous, super duper famous YouTuber. Asking me who I bank with? Who I bank with? What y'all want to know who I bank with for? I mean, I'm here to pick up a receipt. Man, I'm not telling you who I bank with. Get it from the rough. You want to know who I bank with? Go put your shoes on. I don't do a very good job of filling out this paperwork, but I do what this woman asked me to do. I bring her the clipboard back and I sit it right there in front of that bulletproof glass. And I say, excuse me, miss, I just filled out this paperwork that you asked me to fill out, but I'm not here to make a payment. In fact, I don't even owe any money. I just need to get a receipt. See, if you wouldn't have cut me off when I first walked in here and allowed me to finish, maybe this was a step that wasn't even needed. I probably just wasted a piece of paper. We could have saved the tree's life. Again, you really should let people finish their sentences. This woman looks at me and she says, "You don't owe any money." Are you sure about that? You are sure you don't owe us any money? That piece of paper you just wanted me to fill? I'm sure I don't owe you any money. I'm here for a receipt. How you gonna tell me if I owe you any money? I don't owe you nothing. I am here for a receipt, woman. I'm actually kidding. I didn't do any of that. I just said, I don't owe you nothing, woman. I just need this piece of paper so I can take it to the DMV, and then 6 months from now, I could be driving with a licensed adult at 36 years old. Man, this clipboard and this bulletproof glass got me mad now. The woman gets to typing on her computer. She sees it. She says, "Wow, this is a super old receipt right here. I'm going to have to take this case number right here. We're going to have to shoot this thing upstairs to the 10th floor. And then they're going to have to copy this and send it back down to us. It's going to take a little while, so just go ahead and have a seat. And if you don't mind, go ahead and grab one of them clips." I'm not taking a clipboard. I'm done with the damn clipboard. Y'all asking me every question about my damn life now. Sir, just go ahead and have a seat and we'll get back with you as soon as we can. So as I'm sitting there trying to be as patient as I possibly can be, now mind you, there's a woman back there, there's a man back there, they're both working together. The guy, exceptional individual, very nice and courteous. "Sir, would you like a glass of water? Help yourself to a clip." God! The clipboard! So I know all of this is going to take a while, and I do what they tell me. I just go sit down, I try to make myself comfortable, and this is the part of the story where I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, where I realized I am so glad that I decided to change my life for the better. Because as I was sitting there, in walks these two little hoodlum dudes. And I'm not stereotyping these dudes at all, because in every sense of the word, these dudes, they was some hoodlums. But I'm sitting there and these two guys, they come walking in, and one of them is obviously there to make a payment. And the only way that I know this is because they walk in the door like, "Hey, yo, hey, where I make a court payment at? Hey, they be doing court payments in here." By this point, I just go ahead and kick back because I know I'm about to have me a story to tell on After Prison Show. Yeah, you make it right there at that 4 inches of bulletproof glass right there. She gonna take real good care of you. Just keep it short and sweet because she gonna cut you off. She ain't gonna let you finish your damn sentence. The one fine gentleman who was there to make his court payments walked right up to the same 4 inches of bulletproof glass that I was just previously at and began talking to the woman like, "Hey, girl, what's good? Hey, girl, good luck. Hey, girl. Hey, dude. Hey, you can hear me through this glass. Hey, what's that, about 1 inch of glass, right? Hey, girl, I gotta make a court payment on my fines. You fine like my fines, girl." You can't make this shit up. I mean, this is the type of stuff that I see every single day. This is why I rarely ever leave the house. What's gonna happen when you run out of prison stories, Joe? I don't know. Maybe I'll just start going outside more often. Because my God, there's a story on every corner. Literally. The woman tells this guy he's gonna need to do the same exact thing that I had to do, grabbing that clipboard and writing his entire autobiography down for these debt collection people. Hey, I probably should have put what I really do for a living, should I'm a dealer, drugs. I probably should. Now, he didn't actually say the drugs part, but he definitely did say I probably shouldn't put what I do for a living. Now, the other guy, he's sitting there telling his buddy, he's like, "Hey, yo, man, you need to chill, man. You need to chill with all that crazy talk, man. You know where we at? We in the courthouse, man. We in the court building. Hey. By this point, he realizes I'm sitting in there as well, and I'm on my phone. I'm like looking at Twitter or porn. I'm just trying to keep myself occupied until they bring me this piece of paper. Hey, man, hey, how you got your phone in the courthouse, man? You can't have no phone in the courthouse. Oh, you're talking to me? We're not in the courthouse. We're across the street from the court. The courthouse is across the street. You do realize they're two completely separate buildings. I forgot we had to cross the street to get here. Why haven't I won an Emmy yet? Now, it's safe to say that when you go into a place like this, like debt collections or anything like that, the courthouse, anywhere like that, you are guaranteed to run into some absolute characters. And it was no exception, me being in this office yesterday, dealing with these two clowns who were in there with me. And you know, at first, I was trying to give the other guy the benefit of the doubt, because the first guy that walked in who had to make the payment, I mean, he was super extra with everything. At the window, with the clipboard, what do I do for a living for real though? The other guy, he was being pretty quiet at first, telling his buddy, "Hey, look, man, it's probably a good idea to not talk so flamboyantly about the fact that we are probably two dealers sitting in this office right now." Again, I really wanted to give this guy the benefit of the doubt, but when he asked me about the cell phone and didn't even realize that he had to walk across the street to get to a separate building that was not the courthouse, my suspicions, they began to rise about this guy as well. And you know one thing that they say about your suspicions or gut intuitions, they usually tend to be pretty correct when you have them, or you probably gotta poop. It's one of the two. If your stomach starts to bubble and for one reason or another, it's usually because you're about to be right about something, or you better find a toilet pretty fast. I love you, Chuck. You're so fucking fun. Well, it would only be a short while later that another person would walk into this debt collection office, and this would be a young woman. And she walked in there for the same reason that, well, one of these guys walked in there to make a payment on some kind of debt that needed to be paid before it was being collected. But I am telling you, these two brazen young individuals who were in there with me, they spared no expense trying to help this woman feel as comfortable as she possibly could when she walked through the door. Because as soon as she pulled that door open and stepped foot through there, Stickman, who was sitting right here, who didn't know we was not in the courthouse no more, he hit this girl like, damn, girl, God, damn, oh, damn, girl, damn. Hey, you can have a seat right, hey, you can have a seat right here, girl. Come sit right here. Come sit right. Now, by this point, I gotta recline a little bit because I gotta show you how this whole thing went down. By this point, this dude is sitting here and the girl's sitting right next to him. Now, I wasn't paying too much attention to this guy at first, but all of a sudden, when I looked over, I mean, his shirt was up like this. And I'm like, what the? It almost looked like a scene out of a movie. Like, this dude wasn't even waiting. He was ready to get it on right there in the debt collection office. And I don't even know what the girl was thinking. She was talking to this guy the whole time. So I don't know if he just went from one scene to the next and then all of a sudden his shirt was halfway off. If all of this was working for this young man, this game that he was spitting to this girl, you know, last summer, people used to say when I did a couple of vlogs that I was catcalling. We were at level 10 rejection time. Hey, how y'all doing today? Hi. Hey, how y'all doing today? Hey, how y'all doing? If you would have seen this man in this office, I should have filmed it. I didn't want to get shot though. That's why I didn't try to film it. But catcalling, I mean, this dude, as soon as the girl walked in the office, was like, damn, girl, God, damn, oh, damn, girl. Hey, it's 2018. I guess that's what they be doing out there these days. And obviously, it works. Because again, you know, when I looked over the next time, hey, girl, good God, girl, hey, hey. I guess that's the new dab. Hey! And you know what's so crazy? Because all of this began with me just trying to go get a receipt for my court fines. The very last one at that. You know, had I made a movie about me attempting to pay off my court fines and then, you know, attempting to get my license back, this would have been like that final boss in the video game or something. Like, this was a tough level to get through. I don't know what that's got to do with a movie neither, so. But if all of the game that this guy was kicking to this chick who just a few moments prior had just walked into this office, if all of this game was working, and real quick, let me just take a moment to explain what this chick looked like. She was no looker, okay? She was about 400 pounds, maybe 350. I don't know. She was a big girl, all right? A big girl. And I was like kind of shocked to see this dude because he only weighed about $120. This dude was like sticks. I mean, this was legitimately giving me flashbacks to being locked up because guys will holler at anything while they locked up in prison. It don't matter what she looked like. And obviously in this case, I mean, it was the same thing. I almost felt like I was in a prison cell. That's sort of what going to this debt collection office was a lot like. But getting back on track, if all of the game that this guy was kicking to this chick was working, I'm about to tell you where he completely crashed and burned. Because he most certainly did. Now, you know, the one guy is sitting there still filling out the paperwork, and by this point, he has to fill out another paper, and he has to put all of the bills that he has to pay. And he's like, car note, $350. Man, you know damn well you ain't got no car. And if you do, what the f does that say about me? Water bill? How much people be paying for water? Well, I pay about $100 a month. I mean, I actually do have bills. So maybe you just put like, I don't know, like $50. Hey, thanks, man, thanks. Electricity? Hey, you got an electricity bill too? Yes, I do actually have an electric bill. It's about $150 a month. You might want to put, I don't know, maybe $50 or $75 for that as well. Hey man, you know something about some bills, don't you? Yes, I actually do know something about some bills. See, I used to be just like you, as a matter of fact, a complete and utter piece of shit. But you know, I decided to change my life. So yes, you know, in an effort to change my life, one thing I had to do was accept responsibility for myself and also pay some bills. Hey, how you spell responsibility? That's a bill too. It's gonna be all right. You'll be okay. So as this one guy was continuing to fill out this piece of paper, he wasn't no dummy. I don't know what you guys might be thinking of this guy already, but let me assure you, he was not a dummy. Because he knew as he was filling that paper out that the more bills he wrote down that he had to pay, he knew that would potentially make lesser money he had to pay to these people sitting behind this 4 inches of bulletproof glass. And with that, he was telling his buddy, hey, what other kind of bills people be paying out there, man? I'm trying to make sure I ain't got to pay these people like $5 a month. Put down that you've got a mortgage, that you're actually paying on a home. Dude, that's a good one, man. I got a house. I got me a house note. Hey, what's a house note be? $25. Something like, it's a small house. But as this guy would continue to fill out this piece of paper, the conversation between him and his homeboy then turned to tax returns and how they were both hoping that they were going to get like a good amount of taxes back so that they could use that money to flip it. And as I'm hearing this, I'm thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about flipping that money. Though, let's give them the benefit of the doubt because they didn't exactly say how they were going to flip it. But let's just say, hopefully, they was going to use that money for some good. Maybe go start a business, a little, I don't know, some kind of a good business though. And not something illegal. Now, as you're hearing this, you're probably wondering to yourself, Joe, you said that this guy was going to crash and burn with this 350 to 400 pound woman who was sitting beside him that he was half naked in front of. How does this have anything to do with that? Well, I'm about to tell you. Because as they would continue to talk about taxes, the one guy who was sitting there half naked in front of this chick then began to say, hey, I'm trying to get my cousin, let me claim one of them kids, man. Them kids like $1,500 a piece back on them taxes. Yeah, I'm sure this is where you're about to start losing major points with this chick sitting right beside you, especially if she's got some kids herself. This guy was actually saying he was trying to get one of his family members to let him claim one of her kids, knowing damn full good and well he ain't done nothing for this kid, ain't done nothing to be deserving of any kind of a tax credit for this child. He's just hoping that he can claim that child on his taxes and get $1,500 back for that kid. And this is something that I've seen and heard of guys doing a lot. Guys will try to get their girls to let them claim them kids, even if they ain't their kids, so that they can get like $1,500 back at tax time, because from what I've heard, one child equals like $1,500. Some people, they don't really want no kids until it's tax time. Crazy damn thing to think about. And as I'm hearing this conversation, looking at this chick who's looking absolutely disgusted with this half-naked individual sitting right beside her at this point, I'm just hoping and praying that this whole experience is about to be over for me. Because I don't know how much more of this insanity conversation these two guys are having in here, looking absolutely obnoxious the entire time that they're in there. I'm sure the woman sitting behind the 4 inches of bulletproof glass, she probably hearing all of this as well, thinking the exact same thing. But it would not be over just yet. Because as I was sitting in here waiting so patiently, it's probably only been about 4 minutes since I've been waiting, and all of this has taken place in that time. But Joe, how you turn this into a 20-minute video though? How you do that? How you take a 4-minute conversation and turn that into 20 minutes? Are you making fun of handicapped people? Because I am mildly autistic. Sometimes I have to repeat things 3 or 4 times for myself so that I get a proper understanding of the things that I'm trying to explain to you. You wouldn't be making fun of me, would you? For being autistic? I didn't think so. Hey, go ahead and smash that like button right now, though, just to make sure you're on the right team. But as I was sitting here waiting, I was wearing an After Prison Show hoodie, and half-naked guy must have taken some kind of notice to that, because at this point, he began to try to redeem himself with this 400-pound woman who was damn near breaking the chair, waiting herself. I can't get the proper sound effect of a chair creaking. This chair just won't creak. But this guy does make an effort to try to redeem himself after saying this crazy thing about trying to claim someone else's kids so that he can collect $1,500 for that child, who otherwise would probably benefit from that money themselves. The child would. But this guy then begins to talk about how when he was in Portsmouth City Jail, a local jail to the area where we're at, how when he was there, he was on an episode of Beyond Scared Straight. Now, at this point, he's sort of got my attention. I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of interesting. I'm not saying anything because I don't want to engage in any conversation with these people at all. I just want to get this receipt and get the hell out of here. I really do. But I guess he's saying this for everyone to hear, maybe even the people behind the glass as well. But he says, hey, yo, I was on an episode Beyond Scared Straight one time. They brought them little bastards up in there. All them little bastards with them curfew violations, they put them in a cell with us. Yeah, they was in the cell with us and I was on Beyond Scared Straight. I had to fight every temptation in my body to not request an interview with this guy for After Prison Show. You know, sometimes you really miss it. You really miss the moment where you could line up some amazing content. And I just thought, you know, I'm sure this guy really has a compelling and positive story to tell and share with all of us about his experience with Beyond Scared Straight and him helping to influence some young person. But you know, as I thought better about it, I could probably only imagine how this episode probably really went down with him on it. Hey, you trying to be on Beyond Scared Straight? Get out of the way! I'm trying to be on the Hey, Ma! I'm on Beyond Scared Straight, Ma! Hey, Ma, look at me! Look at me, Ma! Hey, I want to be on... Get out the way, kid! Hey, Ma! Let me tell you what I did. I got caught with 14 guns, 6 stolen cars, and a mountain of crack, and I ain't get but 3 months. You did 3 months with 6 stolen guns, 4 stolen vehicles, and a mountain of crack? I can't remember the exact numbers that I just mentioned, but you only got 3 months for all of that? Hey, who'd you tell on? Because you done told on somebody. That girl might believe you sitting right there about to break that chair, but I don't believe you. Mr. Guerrero, your paperwork's ready. Thank you. I need to get out of here. And by that point, I got that piece of paper, and I ain't never ran out of a place so fast in my life. I mean, I was like, hell of an experience. Really was. Hey, look, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know what you thought about it. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, nor ever act like these 2 idiots that I met yesterday. And make the most of every day. Peace!